The center of gravity is definitely on this side of the room. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I have the feeling that there is a non-zero chance that this thing literally just collapses and then the television falls over on my head in my sleep. I don't know. It's just like maybe like I'm looking at it from the wrong perspective, but like it looks like it's kind of tilted like that. And I would much rather a heavy TV like this fall on my feet and prevent me from ever being able to walk again, because at least then I'm guaranteed, like, I don't know, 900 and some odd dollars every month for the rest of my life from the federal government, and I will never be drafted into any wars, and I can engage in literally all of the hobbies that I already have. Um, so that would be pretty good in comparison to losing my head, which would mean that I would die. Uh, just the kind of thoughts that I have before going to bed. In all honesty, I'm probably going to move this part of my room to like that part of my room or something. I just don't know how feasible or intelligent it is to have uh, such a heavy and integral structure sitting right here. If the piece of furniture were made out of more reliable wood, I could see it, but like you take one look at this and you know it's some Chinese IKEA-esque type shit, not real wood, the kind of thing that the kind of thing that someone who really knows their furniture would scoff at. So yeah, I do not feel particularly comforted by this thing at my headboard. Instead, what I will do is sleep with my head at the opposite end, which I think is probably the better long-term strategy.
We did it. We're back. I'm back with the full-on schizo thumbnails. The graphic design that I used to really love doing that I stopped doing on this channel because I would end up wanting to post a video really quickly and actually spending the time to craft a thumbnail that did something weird and out there was it wasn't something that like I always felt like I could do in such an immediate way. But what I've realized now over time is that you don't actually have to post everything immediately. You can kind of just leave it until it's ready to go, and that gives me more time to try and think of an iconic or schizo looking image to use as a thumbnail. And I much prefer that because for those of you who have been on here a long time, you might remember, I would craft these really weird looking thumbnails that basically don't work as YouTube thumbnails. They just work as my thumbnails. The point of them on there is not really to draw eyes to my channel. If anything, it's like to draw eyes away from my channel because it looks so weird that a lot of people would be turned off by that because it's not fitting the typical YouTube mold. Um, but more than anything, the point of it, was to kind of was to have the thumbnail um, be a sort of art of its own. I really like vaporwave and collages and memes and the artistry behind uh, some weird looking photoshopped images you might find on 4chan that just have kind of a surreal character to them. I've been really heavily influenced by that stuff. So with my channel today, I have decided to bring it back in full swing. And I really, in particular, like the idea of the entire channel just being decked out with these thumbnails, and you scroll down and it's video after video with these really weird looking thumbnails. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to like retroactively change the thumbnails on my other videos, at least probably not. But because because that kind of defeats the point of having an archive. Like I try to keep everything exactly as it was when it came out. But um, on every video that's going to come out from now, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have it with the strange things going on in the thumbnail, um, which is which is how I should have done it the whole time. I think I just got lazy, and also to some extent, I didn't have the inspiration for it. But that was because I was in too bad of a mindset to really put anything together that required even a modicum of effort for me. Um, I had so much going on in my mind that I didn't really know how to generate creativity. It's also why I wasn't really writing back then. But that's something I've started doing again as well, and it's something that I'd like to do more in the future. You know, much like Don San, the mentor of Trixie the Golden Witch, formerly known as Digibro, formerly known as Digibrony, once said, "You cannot let your moods control you when it comes to writing." And I would, you know, broaden that statement out to say, when it comes to art more broadly, or when it comes to doing anything really, you just have to do it in spite of what you were feeling. But that was a lesson it took me a while to learn, and so I would let sort of however I was feeling dictate my creativity, even when it came to really simple things that I just do for the maximum amount of fun, like making these thumbnails, you know, the kind of art that's not really like all that serious, it's just fun for the person to do. Um, I didn't have the right mindset and approach, because what I've realized now over the years is even if you don't really feel like doing something, if it's something good for you, like doing art, after you do it, you're going to feel way better. Whether it's doing art, whether it's studying the language learning stuff, or what have you, even if you don't feel like it, you should just do it anyway. And then afterwards, you're going to feel so much better. And I've done that so many times now. I've been doing that for so long now that like I have such ingrained habits of just doing stuff. And now it's like I feel good every day, and then I don't feel things in this like destructive kind of way where, you know, I end up, I don't know, just not doing anything. It's my feelings don't really work like that anymore, and they haven't for a while because of this just do stuff approach I've been taking. And so for people out there who are depressed or feel like they can't make things because of how they feel, or they can't do things because of how they feel, it's just an excuse. It's an excuse that you tell yourself, but it's really unnecessary. It's not that you're unable to do something; you're just unwilling to do it, and you should, you know, just push through that enough times to the point where you no longer have to push through it anymore. Um, that's what I've learned with literally every endeavor that I have. You know, even small endeavors that I go through that aren't really all that significant, like putting the little touches on these videos, like a thumbnail. You know, it still matters, especially to someone like me that's concerned with aesthetic coherence. Um, and like, if you're gonna do something, why not do it in the way that feels best to you? You know, why not? If you're gonna do something, just do it the the right way, right? And I don't mean be perfectionistic. I just mean don't, you know, don't just half-ass it. I mean, these videos are half-assed to the extent that like it's it's a raw and unfiltered kind of low effort style, but like don't do the low effort style with the minimum effort possible. Uh, as strange as that may sound, you know, it's like, yeah, the style is lo-fi, the style is off the cuff, the style is not all that polished, but if there's finishing touches on it that you can envision making, just go ahead and make them. Like, there's no point in not doing that. Um, and it's little stuff like that that I found myself thinking about that I feel like really represents my mindset um, today. You know, it's like if I go around my house and I see that something is not in the place it's supposed to be, or something is like slightly dirty, I just clean it or I organize it. It's not difficult to do, if you see it and spot it, you can just do it right away. Don't just walk past it and wait. That's not the mindset to have. Um, and I don't even think that like just seeing it and waiting is the mindset that I naturally have, because throughout my life, I've consistently thought and felt this other way, in this more conscientious way. But I think what I saw happen was, living with my father, whom I have not lived with in a couple years now, it really messed with my brain because he's very much like a neurotic, um, low conscientiousness type person who just is willing to lay in waste and let his house fall apart and not really pay attention to the things around him or the feelings of the people around him, things like this. Um, even even though I love my dad, I have affection for him as I do for everybody in my immediate vicinity. These are real problems that I've seen him have, and I've also seen him have these moments where it's like it's clear that he's trying to not do that stuff or he's trying to improve it, but due to like mental illness or incompetence or just being plain crazy, it's like he struggles with it a lot. So I'm not exactly trying to like you know I'm not trying to do shots fired on that side of the aisle, but more so am just attempting to say that living in that environment was very unhealthy for me. It was very negative. I would never want to live like that ever again, because it was very crushing. It was very crushing, especially all of the besides just the way the living conditions were, like the toxicity therein, the emotional volatility that was present every day in that house was just awful. I mean, it was just abjectly terrible. And so that ended up really, you know, pushing me down a hill and giving me, like a massive amount of negativity that over time broke down my will to live, my motivation, my self esteem, like how I conceived of myself. And for a while, I didn't think there was an alternative. I didn't know it was possible to feel any different from that. Not to mention the carbon monoxide poisoning and not getting enough sleep and stuff like this. And so, um, I had this one perception of myself or like my approach to life that was kind of a synthetic one, or one that was kind of in response to the environment that I was in, that was actually very much unlike the way I had been throughout my life. Because, you know, early on, and also not that long ago during this time, I had been very conscientious, very cleanly, very, motivated and principled and things like this. I had some problems with perfectionism and mental health and anxiety and my mindset that got in the way of having maximum productivity. And I had some growing I needed to do in just the normal ways that everybody needs to grow in. Um, but in general, I was very cognizant, I was very with it, I was very aware. Um, and then we move there and things deteriorate more and more over time, things get more and more toxic, and I end up just really losing myself and having this sense that like that learned helplessness that I lived in was like how things always were. It was like I thought that was how I always thought. But then I come live here and I'm away from all that. I'm in a clean, nice environment and I can just do the stuff that makes me happy. Um, and I'm around healthy, happy people, not all the weird toxicity and everything. And I start to realize like what I actually can do and who I can actually be. And that's a crazy thing, right? It's a crazy thing to find out what you're really capable of and to see the sheer difference in how you feel waking up every day. And and that manifests in me doing a lot more stuff, even just stuff that I like to do that in many instances, I wasn't willing to do back then. If it required more effort than just like sitting and reading a book or something, like easy stuff to do is what I was doing. These sort of leisure activities. If I made a video, usually it wouldn't be, you know, something that I really thought about. It was just like something that like I threw out there. And that's what I mean is like you can do the low effort format in a thoughtful way, or you can do it in a way that is obsequious. Is that what I want to say? I don't know if I don't want to use that word incorrectly, but you can do it in a way that's just sloppy and not considerate enough. But it's funny because it's like what I'm talking about is utilizing an inconsiderate and unthoughtful format in a thoughtful and considerate way. So it's like it feels like a contradictory concept. Um, but I guess what I'm trying to get across is there were a lot of videos that I posted back then when I lived there, and some of them were very thoughtful, some of them were very good, but others just were not. Like some of them, it really just felt like okay, he put this out because he needed something to put out or just wanted to yap that day. And I mean, that's fine too. Everybody has days like that, but the sheer quantity of stuff that was like that, I think ended up being higher simply as a result of the way that I conceived of myself and of my work. I was not conceiving of it the right way, and I didn't have really the mindset to actually apply myself on trying to make better stuff or to articulate my ideas better. Um, so I had some of these videos that really just came off like I was crashing out or something. Like obviously it doesn't help when you're drinking alcohol, which I was back then from time to time, depending on what time period you're looking at from when I was living there. And that stuff is just like brain poison. Um, no offense to anybody who drinks, it's just for me, it has a very negative impact on my cognition. Like even when I'm not doing it, it messes with me. And so there's all of these toxic forces that they can serve to take you off the right path, that can have a net negative impact on your life. And it's important to look out for them and to try and understand how they impact you and how you can avoid them. In my case, the biggest thing was getting out of that place. And since then, I've been able to see myself do so many things that are meaningful to me, that make me happy. Even just, being willing to explore some of my more hedonistic hobbies like video games, actually being willing to sit down and play something new and explore it and laugh about it and smile. I mean, we take these things for granted, but it's hard to do that when you feel so bad, right? When there are so many, when it feels like there are so many forces that are against you, and that it's always going to be like that. But it's not always going to be like that. Things can absolutely change. And, I feel like I've been talking a lot about the negative in this particular segment. There were good things in my life at the time as well, but it's very difficult to even see or appreciate them when you're so overwhelmed with the severity of the bad things, right? Um, and so I found myself much more willing to do even just simple things, even just simple things like making my strange vaporwave collage images or whatever those things are. Since coming to here, and it's taken me a while to adjust to the life of living here. It's taken me a while to get into the groove of things. But the longer I've been here, the more mentally healthy I've been. So let's keep going.
Intenté apagar mi luz, me di cuenta de que no estoy cansado, así que vamos a hablar de cosas interesantes, por lo menos para mí. Um, I don't know why I thought of doing the start of this video in Spanish. But I turned the flashlight off on my camera and I realized I'm like wide awake. I recorded that segment just now and then I was like, I'm fucking wide awake. Jesus Christ, I can't sleep. Um, I oh my fucking God. I can't sleep at all. I feel like wired, even though my brain is just regular, and I even took medicine to go to bed. Um, Today's been crazy because I spent all today, I spent all today cleaning and studying. I was studying like crazy, like an animal, both in like the hardcore, I'm gonna sit down and do it type way, and then also just through massive like hours of listening. I listened to so many hours of podcasts and videos in Spanish while I was doing my laundry, my dishes, taking a shower, cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the floor, taking out the trash, um, you know, cleaning my pillows, tidying up, things like this. I spent literally the whole day doing it, fucking shaving and all this shit. So much shit. It felt like I did so much today. But the thing is, like, literally every day is like this for me. Every day I do so many things. I do so many things every single day. And that's the reason why I feel good every day when I wake up. I feel good when I wake up because I know that there's lots of things on my agenda that I need to do. And it just feels good to do stuff. But I get into this mode where, like, I get so obsessed with doing stuff that I actually end up having an overload of energy. I have so much energy from doing stuff all day that I actually can't sleep. Yeah, I went to the grocery store too, multiple times. Um, I really wanted the exercise, so I went all that way multiple times. Um, and that was pretty cool. But I also bike bros, shouts out to having bikes. I think everybody should have a bike, but in America it's kind of scary to drive one. I don't really know what's going on with that. But I mean it at least it's not like in some places where, you know, people start to lose their shit. They'll start to lose their shit if you're riding a bike on the road. I know I know some people there's some cities out there where people are like that. It's crazy. The NIMBYism is not okay. But yeah, today I got so much energy from doing things that like now I want to do even more things. Like I got up to brush my teeth and I brushed my teeth, but then what happened was as I was coming back, I noticed something I needed to throw away on my desk. And then when I went to go throw it away, I noticed like an empty box on the kitchen table that needed to be broken up and put into the thing. And then I was like, huh, I should check if my potatoes are still good. I found out they weren't. Thankfully, it wasn't that many of them. I threw them away. Then I was like, damn, this trash bag is almost full. I just took out three of these damn things from cleaning today, you know? And by the way, I what's up with that, right? I don't know how. I don't know how my sister makes such a mess. Like, I go in her room to clean stuff up when she lets me. It's always such a mess. Like, why not just clean it as soon as it gets dirty so you prevent yourself the hassle of having to go through and pick all of it up in one big day? I guess she doesn't really have to worry about that because she got me to do it. But that's just because I don't want to live in a dirty place. You know what I'm saying? But also, this kid, not to talk bad on her or anything, but I mean, I say this to her directly. she will literally like she goes in the kitchen one time after everything's clean. She comes out like she just left a war zone. I mean, I come in and it's like a scene from Dresden circa a certain time in history or something. It's crazy, bro. I don't know what's going on there. But in addition to all that, I started watching some videos from the YouTube channel and website Comprehensible Japanese just for fun. So I've been watching the complete beginner videos and just some other like random beginner videos from like other channels that do the same kind of thing. And I found it kind of remarkable because as I was watching all these videos, I was like translating what the Japanese speakers happened to have been saying, but not into English in my head. I was translating it into Spanish. So I was having this amazing polyglot moment right there. Um, this beautiful language acquisition moment. And that was the other thing too. Like throughout today, I was just having like little conversations with myself in my head, in Spanish and like narrating my day that way. And I think that's like this is a good way to reinforce various things that you have floating around up there. Sometimes my brain just does it because like, sometimes your brain isn't just silent, like it just starts saying things. And a lot of the time, those things end up being Spanish things for me now because I spend so much time listening to Spanish and intentively, deliberately studying it. Intentively, is that a word? Attentively is what I meant to say. But yeah, needless to say, I'm fucking wide awake, bro. This is crazy. Um, it's unnecessary, one might say. And I do not have a schizo thumbnail to put on this video. So I can't post it right as I attempt once again to go to bed. I have to wait. I have to wait until I have made another one to put on this video, which is going to take me a moment. But needless to say, there's quite a lot going on, and I love it. There was a topic for this video that I had intended to talk about. I forgot what it was. I literally forgot what it was. I turned it on and I randomly, unplanned, unprompted, started speaking in Spanish. And I literally forgot what I was going to record the video about, so instead I decided to make it a video about my day. There you go. Probably should have invested in one of these things a while earlier, but I am a cheapskate, even though I own a lot of somewhat expensive things, and so I did not. But this is a step up, step down converter for voltage. Um, as you guys know, as you might know, I have a Japanese Sega Saturn, and this is a console that, because it's from Japan, um, is used to getting 100 volts from the wall. However, in America, we have the exact same plug as Japan, but 120 volts come out of the wall here. Now, in a lot of modern consoles, they actually fix this issue because the PSU inside um, ends up being okay with whatever voltage is coming out of the wall. But on these older electronics, um, they are not built to handle that extra 20 volts. And so the capacitors end up taking some damage over the years with continued use. Um, so, as somebody who wants to get my money's worth out of these things and generally cares about the longevity of antiques and the preservation of video game history, um, it was important to me to get this thing. And I mean, there's some consoles that just straight up fry after a couple uses, unless you have this, or a workaround. Like I've heard with the Famicom, for example, some people plug up like a guitar like an AC adapter from their electric guitars, and there were no problems. There was no need for a step up down converter in those instances. Um, but from my understanding, it depends on the device and what you're working with. In this case, yes, the Saturn is built to take a little bit of a hit. I think I heard it. I heard some weird estimate. Like I don't even know how they got this information. I don't know much about electricity, but they somebody online said, well, yeah, it'll only take about 10% extra damage over time. It's like 10%, that's crazy. I'm not trying to deal wear and tear to my shit. You know what I'm saying? Um I finally got this big bad boy. And he is a very heavy boy. I will say that. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have added this to the collection. Um Particularly so I can play my Famicom, but also for whatever Japanese consoles I happen to get in the future, because I know I'm definitely going to get some more at some point.